Hi, everyone. Boy, my camera looks dark. I'm on a different computer. Hi. Welcome. Welcome to the now monthly free reading Monday. Thank you so much for popping in. I sure do appreciate it. Um, so, to get things rolling, I'm going to post a link that would offer you a free healing. And the healing is conducted by my advanced clairvoyant students. So let me post that link, and please feel free to. Um, we don't take your email address, so you don't get any communication back, but they will be working for your benefit. So let me post that. Now you can fill out one of these for yourself or for anybody you know, your kitty, your dog, the world. I remember, I don't know why I always remember this one. Somebody did one for all the senators in the United States. So the healing is very neutral. It's not like we, in that case, try to get the senators to do something. We just give them an energetic healing. So, hi Megan, I missed you too. For those that don't know, I'm just on the other side of knee surgery. So, I was out for quite a while with that. So, again, if you would please fill out a healing request form. It can be for anything, and you won't get any communication back. It's not like it's a reading, but they will perform the healing, the advanced clairvoyant students. So, sure do appreciate that. Um, let's see what else I've got for you here. Um, okay, every month at Golden Rose's main website, there are monthly specials. Hey, Carmen, thanks for popping in, my friend. So anyway, here's the monthly specials at Golden Rose. Maybe something there might float your boat. I see Melissa. Hi, my friend. Thanks so much. Melissa, would you, and we'll start with Carmen. Carmen, would you please post your main website? And Melissa, would you please post your podcast site? Or if that's your main, whatever. Now, that kind of leads me into something I usually say at the very beginning. This live stream gets spammed. So you might over there in the comments get someone that says, I've got a message for you or something like that. Hey, Cindy. But like I just did, if I see some of my psychic friends come in, hey, Chris, you just woke up. Excellent. If when I see my psychic friends, I'll have them post their stuff. And so these are reliable links that you'll be seeing. So please, if it resonates with you, if someone does come on and start to spam us, just ignore them and I'll block them after the live stream is over. Now let me see. I think I've got some more links for you. Okay, I did the healing request. There's a lot of other free stuff at Golden Rose besides just this live stream on the first Monday of every month. So let me give you the link to access all the free stuff. It's called our free zone. There's podcasts that I've done. I did a my own radio show, Golden Rose Psychic Radio, for a couple years. So all those episodes are up there. You can get free readings there by some of my graduate students that are offering readings. So there's a lot of stuff available there. So maybe take advantage of that too. So today we are going to get a message from your higher self. So just to kind of give a little background on that, I think, but what do I know? I think that the words higher self are the same as your soul. So in this teaching, it's not a God who creates the events in your life. It's very much different than a religion. most religions think that their God is creating the things that happen, and you pray and try to get things to change. Well, this is very different. This technique says that it's our higher self who is creating all of the events, and that nothing is an accident that happens to us or to the world, that these are very carefully scripted spiritual agreements amongst the higher selves on the astral plane. So most of my readings, the source of the information that you get is from your higher self. So I call it going straight to the horse's mouth. Whatever it is that your higher self wants to experience, I just go to them and ask. So let's get going. Let's see. Let me spin the wheel of fortune here. Okay, I'm going to go with Tim. Hang on. I always jot down who I've read so I don't double dip. So, hang on. Oh, wait, I forgot to set up my crystal grid. Hang on, everybody. You'll hear some clanking going on. Between me and you, there are a lot of crystals. So let me get my desk organized here. You can see I haven't done this in a while. I'm certainly not prepared. Hang on. Click, click, click. This is one of my newest crystals I just got. I still have the tag on it so I remember what the name is. This is called a golden healer. Isn't that fun? I meditated with it right when I got it. Man, did it shift my space. So it's become part of my crystal grid for reading. Okay, let me just get everything else set up here. Sorry, guys. I know your time is valuable. You didn't expect to sit here while I build a grid. Okay, it's all set. So, Tim, let's get going. Hang on. Okay, this is just a little too bright. I know my screen is dark as it is, but the computer is just a little too bright for my reading screen. That's what I call the backdrop. All of a sudden, I see this bright square right here when I close my eyes, and that's not going to help any of us. So let me just get regrounded for you, Tim. Hang on. Okay, let's see. Okay, we're ready. You're a healer. That's what your higher self wants to talk about, is you being a healer. So let's break that down, because I don't even know why I keep saying that word. Because really what is our better words are a catalyst for change for people. In other words, we'll talk about it contractually. Your higher self puts its name on other higher selves' contracts. And then when you live through them over here on the earth plane, when you interact with these people, the other person is supposed to change. Okay? Now, our higher selves don't know good from bad. Though the constructs of what is good and what is bad in any one given lifetime is programmed into us, right? Like, this lifetime, it's not good to kill other people. Well, you've probably been a Viking or a Hebrew Jewish warrior, and that's all they did was kill people. It was good. It was good. Okay, so when we say that, Tim, that your higher self's putting its name on other higher selves' contracts to change them over here on the earth side, it doesn't mean you're a kind, nice person. Although sometimes you might be, and maybe like me, sometimes I'm not a kind, nice person sometimes. So this is the little example I give. If you come and give me a big hug, Tim, my chakras are going to change. And that's a healing. So that makes you my healer. If you slap me across the face, my chakras change and you're my healer. Now, the only thing that dictates whether it's a hug or a hit is what the higher selves have agreed to on that contract. So, probably, like, I always put myself in the position of the person getting the reading. So how would I use that information that my higher self right now wants me to realize that I'm a catalyst for change for other people right now? How would I use that practically? Well, I think maybe one thing you could do is be a little less censored in your approach to other people. In other words, if you feel like telling somebody, you're just really acting like a butt right now, say it. Yeah, be a little bit less censored in your interactions with other people. In other words, show up and be that catalyst for change. And the next question that might come up in somebody's space about that is, well, how do I know if I'm supposed to hug them or hit them? Right? Of course, you're not going to probably slap people across the face, but well, what I might do is I might set my intention in the morning, like while I'm brushing my teeth, for example, that I am going to show up and be a catalyst for change in folks to the best of my ability. And then just let the fur fly. Okay? Your higher self wants to talk more to me. So hang on, let me well, that wasn't too groundbreaking. What it said was don't worry. And I guess that's pretty much what I was trying to say, is if your intention is to show up and fulfill whatever those contracts on the astral dictate, that's the best you can do, right? Instead of like when you're, and I think maybe the message is, just react and just go with your natural reaction, right? Because to be quite honest, that other person's higher self signed up for whatever you're going to say or do. So say it or do it. Shoot from the hip. Yeah. And again, if that makes you worry, like your higher self said, don't worry. If that makes you worry, then maybe have that little quiet moment in the morning where you're setting your intention is like, look, I don't know what all of my interactions are going to be today, but I'm setting my intention that I'm going to instinctively, reflexively do whatever those contracts say. And that's all you can do. That's your best effort at fulfilling those contracts. Okay? Let's see if there's anything else I'm supposed to say. Okay, I'm talking to Ankiyaya. You might call him a spirit guide. He's standing behind me and he's shaking his head yes that I am supposed to say something else. So let me talk to him. Let's see. Oh, I'm supposed to introduce you to a guide. I like that. And this changes everything. When I'm going to introduce you to a guide that you can tell to do the healing for you. See, that's what I mean. And that's one reason why I have Ankiyaya. He's the healer. I'm the reader. Right? So let me introduce you to this guide I'm supposed to... This guide is very good at... Sorry, I yawn when I read. This guide is very good at multitasking, doing a lot of different things. It has a whole bunch of hands, a whole bunch of arms, and a whole bunch of hands. It doesn't look creepy, but the reason it's looking that way is because it can keep this ball in the air. It can keep that ball in the air. It can keep a ball in the air behind it. So I guess what it's trying to tell you is you can't overwork it. You can't you can't give that guide too many tasks. It can perform all of them. Let me see if I can get a name for it. It's Ida, IDA, Ida. And I have a feeling that that's an abbreviation for something. I don't think they don't really have names. But that's a nice, easy name, Ida. I almost think it's an acronym, that the I and the D and the A stand for different things. But Ida is easy, so I would stick with it. So when you're having that little setting intention moment in the morning, You might say, send Ida out in front of you for that day to start the healings, whatever they are, right? So by the time you're face to face with that person, that most of the healing might even already be done, and you won't have to exert a lot of, oh my God, what am I supposed to say? How am I supposed to handle this person? Right? You can kind of have confidence, like, look, I already sent you a healing this morning. So, so Ida. Yeah, that's fun. And of course, you can send Ida to heal you, or, if you're worried about somebody. It's always nice to have the name of a healer that's willing to work with us. And let's go back to contracts, okay? When your higher self puts its name on other higher self's contracts to be a catalyst for change, Ida's name is on there too. Do you see? Okay. So that's it. You're a healer. That's what your higher self wants to talk about. Okay, let's go. Let's go to Susanna. Hi, Susanna. Thanks for popping in. And I told you guys I'm just coming off of knee surgery, and I got a cold. There you go. Okay, so if you hear me snotty, I apologize. Let me get regrounded here. Okay, let me just build from that. Okay, I'm ready. Let's take a peek. Okay, your higher self wants to talk about how you're feeling about yourself. You've There's a cycle that you're in right now that is not complete, but it's supposed to raise your self-esteem and your self-love. So I got a lot to say about that. I'm one of those people that I don't know if I love myself. I don't know what that feels like. I see symptoms of when I do and when I don't, but it's not an emotion that I have. I'm like, oh man, I did really well. I mean, I might feel that way sometimes, usually when I'm playing racquetball. I'm like, well, that was a really good shot. But I understand this. I don't know if it's confusion, or I would say confusion about contracts that our higher self signs, and the result of living through that contract is supposed to be that we love ourselves more. Okay, so let me give you my example. If you were to have asked me, let's go 30 years ago, okay, when I was still crazy, didn't know what in the heck I was doing in my 30s, an engineer, right? If when I was making decisions back then about how to proceed in a certain situation, if you were to ask me, would handling this particular situation this way, we'll say A, if you decide to do A, will you love yourself more? Right? If you were to ask me 30 years ago to start to make those distinctions, the things that made me love myself 30 years ago are certainly not the things that make me love myself more now. Okay? Like self-sacrifice, for example. Right? Oh my God, did I love to play the victim. I didn't even know I was playing the victim. Isn't that weird? Maybe most victims don't know they're doing it. I don't know. But oh boy, I would sacrifice, right? And I was telling myself that, oh, that makes me feel good. I'm the bigger person, right? Well, now it's totally different. So that's what I mean about the confusion. How do I handle this circumstance? So, in order for me at the end of it to love myself more, well, Susanna, probably it's going to take some inner reflection. Like, okay, if I invite everybody to dinner, let's say we're going out, and nobody offers to pay the bill, would me paying the bill myself make me love myself more? And then you've got to dig deeper. Why would it? Why wouldn't it? Right? I talked about this in my current events healing meditation that I do every Sunday. It's always some topic about current events. Um, that I talked about two groups of people. Ones that are constantly self reflecting. Why did that hurt me? Why did I react that way? Why am I doing this thing? Why am I not doing that other thing? Right? And then there's a whole nother group of people that don't ever do that. I guess really about those two groups of people, the first one I described is really taking responsibility for what's going on for them. The second group blames everybody else on the planet, right? I don't want you to marry that person. I don't want you to do this. I'm going to stop you from doing that because it makes me uncomfortable. Instead of saying, why does that make me uncomfortable? Right? So this is self-reflection with the intent of finding that thread of that leads you to self-love. Okay, so believe me, it can be exhausting. So be gentle with yourself. I think probably the good news of this situation is that the contracts that you're living through right now, your higher self encoded into them the prospect of self-love. And that's pretty cool of your higher self to do that. But now you have to do the work here on earth to pull at those threads. Really what we're talking about, everybody, is programming. Programming in our energy field that says, I love myself if I do this. I won't love myself if I do that. And a lot of times the programming in our energy field is exactly in resistance to those contracts. I'll also say this for other people that struggle with this notion. The opposite of selfish is selfless. I had to learn that the hard way. So I'll say it again. The opposite of selfish is selfless. Okay, I'll leave you with that. So good luck, Susanna. Pull at those threads. Okay, let's see. Let's spin. Savannah! Hi, my friend. Thank you so much for popping in. I sure do appreciate it. Someone asked me why I switched the live reading from weekly to monthly. And I think it might have had something to do with my knee surgery. I mean, not the surgery itself, but all the shifts that happened to me. I've got a lot of stuff I want to create. Just before this, I was working on something. I almost went over time. I was so absorbed into this project I'm doing. So anyway, that's the reason why I'm creating other things. Okay, so let's get to Savannah's. Hang on, let me get regrounded here. Oh, I like that. Now, the way I get grounded, the way Ankiaya grounds me for each reading, I already get a hint of what the reading's going to be. So when I went, oh, I like that. Hang on, let me just make sure everything's flowing. Okay, let's take a peek. Okay. I'm going to say 7/8. 7/8 of, what do I want to say? How do I want to phrase this? Mentally, you are aware of 7/8 of your information. I know that sounds weird, doesn't it? But what your higher self is talking about is that last eighth that you won't let yourself know. Oh, right. This is like facing those things in our lives that we know, but we just don't want to pay attention to. Right? Like, I know I should take my iron supplements twice a day, but sometimes I just don't want to, right? I might go a week or so and not take any, right? But I know I'm supposed to do it. So, what's going to happen if you continue on your current course is these things are going to be brought to your awareness. And I know, I think the iron pill analogy wasn't very good. This is like when I reflect on this from my experience of being Loren, usually the way this manifests is I'll have an idea and I'm like, why didn't I think of that before? Why? I mean, it's not this, you know, it's almost self-evident that I should have done this. I liken that to my business, like running my business. It's like, oh my God, I could have implemented this super awesome thing 5 years ago. So it might feel more like that than, oh my God, I've been, not doing this thing that I should have been doing, like with all the shame and guilt associated with it. Maybe some of them will elicit that in your space, but some of them also might be epiphanies. A friend of mine always gives me grief because I love subscriptions, right? I love Amazon subscriptions. And she gives me the business a lot about it. You and your subscriptions, right? But that's one of those things the pandemic gave me. I'm like, oh my God, like I could just have these delivered to me when I need them. Right? Make my life easy. Put all my bills on auto pay. Have everything delivered to me, right? So it might have something to do with that. Now your higher self wants me to is pulling me back over. So let me. Okay, the way to get to these ideas is through quiet. You guess you could meditate. You might try this. Just going into a room or a space by yourself with no distractions. So maybe inside would be better than outside. Because I feel if you're outside, you'll hear the birds, that kind of thing. To sit in a quiet room and do nothing. As soon as you're starting to think about something, just take a deep breath and exhale the thought. And just be very gentle with yourself. I don't think you get the idea in that quiet time. So that's not the aim of the quiet time. To get the 1/8 that you don't know yet. But by having that quiet time, I think it uncovers that information for a later, more mentally active time. For some reason, this reminds me of Einstein. Einstein would say that he's working on this super complex equation, fills the whole chalkboard, and he just can't figure it out. So he goes for a walk. He's not thinking about the problem. And all of a sudden the answer comes to him. It's like that. So the intent isn't to sit quietly to get the ideas, but in sitting quietly, later on the ideas will come up. Okay? So, and I think some of them are really fun. I think you'll really enjoy them. So that's what your higher self wanted to talk about. Okay. Let's see. Jessica. Hi, Jessica. Jessica, in case there's more than one. Jessica Allen. Thanks for popping in, my friend. Hang on, let me get grounded. Okay. Okay, let's see. Okay, this is your higher self wants to talk about your spirituality. And for a long time, I had a really hard time with what that word meant. Um, so this is my working definition. That when you're awake here on the earth, that you're connected to your guides and angels, you're connected to your higher self, and you're connected up to the supreme being, whatever you think that is, source, God, goddess, whatever. So, um, for each of us, there's different activities that we might do that have us notice those connections, right? Like talking to your guides, talking to your higher self, talking to whatever you think the supreme being is. Sometimes people think that yoga does it for them, or some other physical exercise. Some people think getting in water, or meditating, or contemplating, praying, right? Let's see what your higher self wants to say about it. Wants you to connect more to your higher self. Now, I think you should really talk to Melissa Callahan. Melissa's in on this conference. I did a student Q&A with all of my students. I do one a month, and somebody was talking about connecting into our higher selves. And I, in my teachings at Golden Rose, I talk a lot about connecting to our guides and angels and connecting to the supreme being. But it don't really focus on connecting directly to one's own higher self. And during the course of that student Q&A, I made it clear that I think that's me personally. I can read other people's higher selves all day, and I do, but actually talking to my higher self, I seem to feel I'm not neutral enough. And I think it has to do with my sordid past with my higher self. For a long time, I was very, very angry at my higher self. I won't bore you with that, but I know that Melissa Callahan, one of the main focuses of her work is connection and communication with one's own higher self. So maybe you'll find her on the list and talk to her, see what she's got cooking in regards to that. But anyway, let me see what else I get about it. Well, I'll tell you, your higher self seems to feel that you're confused. How do you like that? You're confused. Well, who isn't? My gosh, right? But in connecting more with your higher self, you'll have less confusion, I guess, about daily events, about courses to take, courses of action to take, or to let go, to bypass an opportunity. But it feels, and and this is why I'm suggesting Melissa, because I feel this is energy work. I feel that connecting into your higher self isn't going to give you, hey, higher self, am I supposed to do A or B? I don't think that's what your higher self is talking. No, just ask me, I'll tell you. I don't think that's what it means. It's probably this, to have you be a more genuine expression of your higher self. And that comes back to programming, right? So some of the main programming that we have in the patriarchal society that we live in is men are better than women, whites are better than blacks, and dogs are better than cats, or vice versa. Well, our higher self doesn't give a crap about male and female unless it wants to have a baby, right? It doesn't care. Doesn't care about the color of its skin, the skin of its body. And it probably likes dogs and cats exactly the same amount. But those things are programmed into us. Even if you're a woman, you're programmed that men are better. If you're a man, you're programmed that men are better. If you have dark skin, you're programmed that white skin is better. If you have white skin, you're programmed that white skin is better. It's so in us. I was traveling and I was sitting way up front. And as everybody's coming on the plane, there's this young family with two kids, a little boy and a little girl. And the kids wanted to say hello to the pilots, right? So they stuck their head in and say hello. And as the mother was walking by with the daughter, she said this. And let's say the daughter was maybe, I'm going to say maybe 6 years old. She said to her daughter, "Isn't that cool? There's a girl pilot." And oh my gosh, it was like fingernails on a blackboard to my ears. It's like you're doing exactly the opposite of what you think you're doing. Because if really girls could be pilots, then you would never make that statement. It would be self-evident that some pilots are female. But saying that, oh, look, isn't that great, means that it doesn't happen often and we should all take notice. It just flipped me out, right? So anyway, that's about the programming. So what I'm saying is that Melissa might help you let go of some of that programming and be a truer reflection of your higher self. And that's probably the majority of what Melissa's really trying to do, which is fantastic. And that way I'm not confused. If I am such a reflection of my higher self, then I'm going to totally know what to do, right? Yeah, so that's what it is. I hope it helps you. I hope Melissa helps you. Melissa, I'm sorry if I put you on the spot. You're like, oh my God, now what am I supposed to do? Michelle, Chancellor's close enough that you know it's you. Hi, my friend. Thanks for popping in. Okay, hang on, let me get regrounded. Oh boy, there's a lot of colors in that grounding cord. Hang on, let's see how I'm going to read you. Okay, let's peek. Okay. You're a kaleidoscope of energy right now, meaning a whole bunch of different energies that look like color to me. The main, or the energy that brings all of these different energies together is purple. So for you, everything is through your spirituality. You want to have a healthier body? Use your spirituality. You want more money? Use your spirituality. You want better relationships? Use your spirituality. Every other energy, every other part of your life right now is most easily navigated, shifted through spiritual practice. So let's talk more about spiritual practice. Sometimes we feel that we have to be disciplined in our spiritual practice. I don't like the word discipline. I don't like that word. I want to do what I want to do when I want to do it with who I want to do it as long as they want to do it too. I don't like that I have to do this. I don't like that energy. So, what I suggest about spiritual practices is they should be small, they should be easy, they should, but most importantly, they should give results. So, how about if we just got up in the morning and made it a point to say hello to the sun? And as we're saying hello, just to reflect on the fact that we're on this little teeny tiny planet in this huge universe, and our sun happens to be exactly the right distance away that life flourishes. And just kind of ponder that for a moment. And then the next day, go out and say hello to the sun and ponder it again. Maybe from a different perspective. Right? And when we find one little thing that we look forward to doing that gives us a lot of benefit, right? It's not that, oh, got to get up and go look at the freaking sun again, right? Because then it's not the right thing. It needs to be something different. And then once we have that under our belt and it really becomes a part of our life that we enjoy, then add one other little thing. Like maybe when you're making your morning beverage, that's your gratitude time. I'm so grateful that I have clean water and either this coffee or this tea, that it's here, it's healthy. I'm so grateful, that I have that. And then the next day, say hello to the sun, be grateful for your morning beverage, and keep doing them if they continue to give you that feeling of connection that you're seeking. Then maybe after a couple weeks of saying hello to the sun and really would be blessing your morning beverage, then maybe you start talking to your guys and giving them instructions while you're drinking your morning beverage. I want you to go heal my mother. I want you to go work on the climate change and get people out of the way when the climate's changing. I'm going to send out my guides to maybe bring up in everybody's space today, including me, maybe we could be kinder. Okay? So little teeny things that start to build into what would ideally be an all-day thing, where we're constantly putting in the forefront of our mind our guides and angels, our higher self, and the supreme being. So, how do you like that? So anyway, everything right now, doesn't mean it's always going to be that way. Right now, all the different parts of your life are enhanced, shifted, transformed, changed through spirituality. So, find something you like. Okay, Kelly. Hi, Kelly. Thanks for popping in. I sure do appreciate it. Okay, hang on. Let me get grounded. Oh. Okay, I like that. Hang on. Okay, let me just make sure I'm ready. I am. Okay, let's take a peek over here. Okay. Your higher self is interested in not relying on other people to change you. And I'm using change you instead of heal you, because that's really what a healing is. It's a change. Now is not a time for you to give up your power to an external source to change yourself. That's so let's say you're working with a trainer, right? A physical trainer. And that trainer says, okay, you're going to do this exercise, and then you're going to do this exercise, and then you're going to do this other exercise. And if your if your higher self has anything to say about it, you're going to say, okay, I'll do exercise 1 and 3, but I'm not doing 2. I don't like 2. I'm not going to do it today. You can still work with the trainer. You don't have to do it all yourself, but don't give up your responsibility or your power to let somebody else decide. Okay. Um, let's see. I'm going to go right over here to your higher self and talk to it for a minute. Okay, this has to do with your wisdom. Right now, if you offload this responsibility to external sources, you're not taking full advantage of your wisdom. And what I think wisdom is being able to put into practice what you know. So watch that if you can, where other external sources are kind of overwriting your wisdom. Because if you just let that happen, then you're not digging deep and go, what do I think? Based on what I know, what am I going to put into practice? So now if you do turn to external sources, it's probably not going to work. Whatever the healing is, probably not going to work. Yeah. Now's not a good time to ask for advice. That might be a very practical way to use this information that you're getting right now. You might ask the advice, right? But when I see people running this energy, this is what I say about advice. If you go to your friends and say, hey, I got this dilemma, what should I do? And then they're going to spend all this time telling you this is what you should do, this is why you should do it, blah, 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 blah. And then if you do it, it's not going to work. If you don't do it, your friends are going to be like, well, why did you have me give you all that advice and then you never take it? So just don't ask for advice right now. Save your friends and you a lot of strife. Don't ask for advice. Yeah. Now, when I pull at that thread, it might take a little longer for you to use your wisdom to come up with the answer to your question. So just realize there's a time differential. If I just ask all my friends or I ask a doctor, how can I heal this part of me? I'm going to get the answer really fast, but it's not going to work. Instead, if I'm you, I'm going to go, oh, maybe I should do this. Well, based on what I've learned and what my experience, I think I should probably do that. It's going to take longer. Okay, so I was just supposed to tell you that. And when I hear myself say that makes sense. It'll take longer. Okay, let's spin the wheel. I just did Kelly. You came up twice. Sarah! Sarah May. Hi, my friend. Okay. Let's get to the bottom of this. Let me get regrounded. Okay. Okay. It's time to teach. You are brimming with very bright information right now. It would be time to write, blog, podcast, teach. Now, I know personally that there was a time where I so wanted to teach, but I didn't have any students. But I didn't let that stop me. I recorded all my classes. The people could download them. It took me a year plus. But you got to get this information out of you onto a medium where it can be shared with others, whether that happens tomorrow, next month, next week, next year. Okay. Let me talk to your higher self about it. There's a lot. And I feel that how do I say it? It doesn't all fit under one umbrella. Like, I'll use myself, for example. I teach clairvoyance. If I'm you, I'm also going to teach people how to play racquetball. Do you see? So it's not just one avenue where you have so much information that it's time to get it out of you for the benefit of other people. So think about some ways that you might like to do that. Of course, you don't have to implement it all now. Sometimes I think when we have big projects, we kind of think we have to get it all out of us correctly the first go round, right? Maybe just brainstorming. I like brainstorming because that means I really don't have intention of doing anything about it. I'm just gonna get it out of my energy field because I keep thinking about it. So anyway, teach, 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 teach. Okay. Tristina. Hi, my friend. Thanks for popping in. Okay, hang on. Let me get regrounded. Okay. Let's see. Okay, I'm ready. You're green. I haven't even been telling you guys the colors, and I just realized, and I haven't. Oh, yeah, I have told you some colors. Green. You're green. And this would be a growth period, my friend. A growth period is when the frequency of our energy field has increased so much that our body has to catch up with it. We could get sick, we could get fussy, right? One of the ways I describe growth periods that are emotional to my Claire students, because they throw themselves into growth periods by what we do in class. I tell the male students, now you're going to know what PMS is like. That's exactly, for me, when I have an emotional growth period, it's just like PMS. In the fact that I'm fussy, right? And just like when I used to have PMS, as soon as I realize that's what it is, it's gone. I can just go, oh, that's why I seem crazy right now. So just the same with the growth period. Once you go, oh my gosh, I'm in a growth period, then it's like, oh, okay. So let's see what your higher self says about this growth period. Water is good. So to balance out your body again, excuse me. Okay, so drink water. See if you can get your body in water. I would also throw in listen to water. Maybe you can have your echo play some wave sounds or rain or something like that. But right now, from your higher self's perspective, to get your body to catch up to the energy that's running in your chakras and aura, the body needs water. Okay, I hope that helps. Okay. Kristen Clark. I do not think I've read you yet. Okay, hang on. Let me get plugged in. Make sure everything's... Okay, I'm ready. Let's see. Okay, you're running quite a few different energies as well. But I'm going to talk about the foundational energy. It's pink. And what builds on top of it is blue, different shades of blue. So when I see pinks, it's about self-love. Blue energy is about healing. So we could probably all say the same thing about us, is that right now, loving yourself and honoring yourself is the way to heal yourself. Remember when I was talking about it before, when I said, I don't feel like I love myself? It's not an emotion, but I can see symptoms of if I am loving myself versus I'm not. And it's about self-care. That's what it's really about for me, maybe you too. And of course the pandemic probably taught us a lot about that. That if I'm really taking care of myself, meditating when I need to, eating healthy food, resting when I need to, doing all my personal hygiene, then I start to think, well, I must be feeling pretty good about myself. And then other times, like, oh my God, I don't want to floss my teeth. I'm like, oh, maybe I'm not feeling too good about myself. So, maybe what I might focus on based on what I'm reading over here is throw everything off the table except your self-love. All the rest of it, all of the things you want to change in your life will change when you focus on your self-love and your self-care. Okay? So, kind of like, I can't remember who's reading, maybe it was Michelle's, where everything was hinged on her spiritual practice. Yours is hinged on self-love. You know what I might do, and maybe I might do this. A lot of times I get great ideas on how to heal myself from reading other people. Affirmations. Affirmations about how you love and care for yourself. And this is what I've learned in regards to that. One time I was talking to Anki Yaya because I was, didn't think I was loving myself very much. And he said, okay, well, why don't we talk about reasons why you could love yourself, right? And so I started to list off my deeds, the things I had accomplished. And he goes, no. He goes, I'm not talking about you loving yourself because you've done A, B, C. I'm talking about, could you love yourself just because you are? Of course, I was like, oh my God, how much more twisted do we have to make all of this? I always talk to him that way. So that's why I think affirmation is not like, I love myself because I balance my checkbook. No. I love myself. Maybe you could just say that. It's really easy for me to love myself. I'm loving one of my affirmations, no matter what I'm working on, is with every beat of my heart, blah, blah, blah. Right? In your case, with every beat of my heart, I love myself more and more. That might be a way to hinge everything that you want to change in your life, things you want to do or whatever, just focus on your self-love. So maybe give yourself a self-love challenge, right? Maybe since today's the first day of April, maybe this whole month you could do self-love affirmations, even if it's just for, a couple minutes. But really see if you can focus on that and then see how your life changes within that month. Yeah. So, I hope that helps you. All right, my friends. Now mark your calendars, okay? Because what used to be a weekly event is now a monthly event, the first Monday of every month at 11 a.m. Pacific time. All right. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it. Until next month, we'll call it a healing. Bye-bye.